Welcome to all of you, Shiksha 360. In this session, basically, we have to discuss, revise. We want to revise some important topics like basically SARFAESI, DRT, DRAT, LOK ADALAT, clear, and some other technology-based points also clear. We have to discuss in this session. So let's start our session. And I request to all of you, please participate. Clear, please participate along with that. So let's start. Questions are already uploaded in the group for the practice purpose. So I request to all of you, please do practice and please concentration on the theory. Clear, please concentration on the theory portion or try to understand the concept rather than the cramming. Clear, you will be able to answer the question only if you are properly able to understand the concept. Clear. So now let's start our discussion. First of all, basically we have to discuss the provisioning. Clear, under the NPA. Clear, non-performing asset. Clear, non-performing asset. So basically when any account becomes non-performing, clear, basically earlier the account is going to be regular. If the installment is not coming basically from 0 to 30 days, then the account basically goes into the SMA 0, special mention account. Clear. And after that, even if the person is not giving the installments basically between 31 to 90 days, the account is to be under the SMA 1. And further, if the person is not filling the assignment, installments 61 to 90 days, the account basically goes into the SMA 2. And this is the stages basically how the account basically goes into the NPA. And finally on 90th day, clear, and finally on 90th day, the account becomes NPA. Clear. Finally on 90th day, the accounts become NPA. Clear. So after becoming the account to be NPA, clear, after becoming the account to be NPA, it goes into the substandard asset. Clear. Here it is to be a standard asset. It goes basically into the substandard asset. So here SMA basically means that special mention account. Clear. SMA basically means that special mention account. Clear. As a banker, I think all of you know that basically what is special mention account. That is basically we have to take care. Clear. Because in those accounts there is not any installment coming. So basically we have to contact to the borrower and consult with them why they are not paying the installment. Special mention account. Okay. Next one. Here we have to discuss some. Okay. And account becomes NPA, and after that basically the account is standard, it goes into the substandard category. Clear. It goes into the substandard category even if the person is not paying the amount. Clear. Even if the person is not paying the amount, that substandard account basically goes into the doubtful category. Into the doubtful category. Clear. Doubtful D1, D2, D3. And finally the basically account will goes into the loss asset. So here, this is the journey of the account basically from regular to becoming the loss asset. So in the non-performing asset, basically the bank has to do some provisioning. Clear. Bank has to do some provisioning basically in these cases. Clear. Some provisioning in these cases. What is the meaning of provisioning? That they have to keep some amount. Clear. Basically they have to keep some amount with themselves. Clear. With themselves. So how basically what is the amount of provisioning in different cases? So now let's discuss regarding that also. Clear. Just overview, I will provide you 3 to 4 videos on the NPA provisioning. Go to through that. Clear. After the session I will provide you. Just go through that. This is the same topic which you have understood. Go through basically in the ABM, BFM, and now in the retail. Clear. So now please tell fast basically under the standard assets. Under the standard assets, first of all we have to discuss the provisioning under the standard assets. Clear. Not under the. So what is the provisioning under the standard asset? Basically the normal. We can have journal basically for if there is not anything mentioning. So what is the provisioning? That is 0.40%. Clear. That is 0.40%. For the MSC, mediums, micros, sorry, MSC, that is basically to the 0.25%. Okay. Then for we can say the individual housing loan. Individual housing loan, it is to be also 0.25%. Okay, I am going with the series so that you can easily remember. Clear? MSC, individual housing loan, and to the agriculture. Clear? Individual housing loan, I think it is to be 0.25. For the commercial, real estate housing, it is to be 0.75. Because for the teaser, it is to be basically 2%, I think. Or I am doing any mistake here. I will check once, not an issue. Clear? Clear? For the housing loan at teaser rate. Clear? Housing loan at teaser rate, it is to be 2%. Clear? It is to be 2%. Clear? It is to be 2%. So agree. What is the agree here? It is to be, in the case of agree, basically it is to be 0.25%. Clear? In the case of agree, it is to basically 0.25%. Clear? It is to be 0.25%. Clear? So rest I will once again will cross verify and update you. Clear? I think if there is any limit is updated, but I have written same thing. Okay, I will check once again and update you. Not need to worry regarding that. Okay. So basically that is, we can say that. Okay. Commercial real estate housing. Commercial real estate housing, it is to basically 0.75%. Yes, 0.75%. Clear? And commercial real estate, this is basically for housing, it is to 0.75%. And commercial real estate, basically not for the housing, basically for, we can say that, like for the offices or shops. Clear? Or for the farms, that it is to be 1%. Clear? That it is to be 1%. Clear? Okay, so NOR MSC is 0.25%, individual HL is 0.25%, agri is 0.25%, and medium enterprise. Medium enterprise here, it is to be medium enterprise here, we can say that 0.40%. Clear? 0.40%. Clear? So please remember all these points. Clear? Basically, please remember all these points. Okay. So can anyone tell basically what is the meaning of teaser rate here? Basically, I have discussed one word, that is teaser rate. So can anyone tell basically what is the meaning of teaser rate here? Teaser rate. So basically teaser rate, basically we can say that basically at the initial time. Clear? Basically at the initial, basically to attract the customer. Clear? In the initial phase, basically to attract the customer, the interest rate are to be lower. Clear? And in the later time, basically interest rate basically will be increased. Clear? Basically interest rates will be increased. Clear? Initially interest rates are lower, and after some time the interest rate goes to increase. So basically I will relate you one story, just a 1 or 2 minute story. Basically during the time of festivals, clear, during the time of festivals, many banks, clear, I'm not naming any bank, so many banks basically introduce these type of things. Clear? Introduce this type of things, like they can say that basically 6.9% interest rate on the housing loans, or we can say that 6.6% interest rate on the housing loans. Clear? And they have mentioned under that basically that is star mark terms and condition mentioned. Clear? So basically person will take the housing loan basically while checking that. Clear? We know that basically housing loan is a long tenure loan, 15 to 20 years or basically 25 years. Okay. So here basically after they are checking that 6.9%, 6.6 person will visit that banks. Clear? Later on basically after 6 months or basically we can say that after 4 months. Clear? After getting over this time, clear, that is festival period time, 3 months, 6 months as per the scheme, they were charging 8.59%, that much interest. Clear? So basically in this way basically you will see that basically some organizations basically try to imbalance their customers. Clear? That is basically initially it shows that basically they are getting basically you have to pay less interest rate, but later on this bill it goes to increase. Clear? So basically while going with any bank basically for this, please go through that in detail. Clear? Not every bank basically, some basically we can say that some banks basically will do these types of things. Clear? Or some other agencies. Clear? So you have to go through or basically take care regarding that. Clear? Teaser rate. Clear? Many times basically this thing will be happening. I think all of you are also aware regarding these things. Clear? In many banks, clear, basically there are some these types of schemes basically what for what basically just to attract the customers. Clear? Just to attract the customers. Now next one here, that is we have discussing regarding the standard assets. Now next one which we have to discuss here, that is substandard asset. Second one here, that is a substandard asset. Substandard assets. Clear? So what is the provisioning under the substandard asset? Clear? Under the substandard asset, basically 15% for the secured and 25% for the unsecured. Okay. Now next one, that is third one here, doubtful. Doubtful. So under the doubtful category, basically it is divided into 3 parts: D1, D2 and D3. Clear? D1 is basically for up to for 1 year. D2 basically stands for 1 to 3 years. And D3 basically stands for above that. Generally 3 to 7 years we consider. So under the D1 basically for the secured portion and for the unsecured. Clear? Please remember that basically for the unsecured, the 100% provisioning is to be required in every case. And for the secured portion, basically under the D1, that is up to 1 year. What is the amount of provisioning? That is 25%. And under the case of D2, basically for 1 to 3 years, what is the provisioning? That is 40%. And under the D3, what is the provisioning? That is 100%. Clear? What is the provisioning? In that case, basically it is to be 100%. Clear? So please remember all these 3 points regarding the provisioning. Clear? Under the substandard, under the standard, and under the doubtful category. Clear? And under the doubtful category. Now we will discuss some other important points regarding the, first of all, basically we have to discuss regarding the DRT. Clear? First of all, basically we have to discuss regarding the DRT. So DRT basically stands for the Debt Recovery Tribunal. Clear? So DRT here basically stands for the Debt Recovery Tribunal. Clear? Because in the examination basically they will ask very straightforward questions. Clear? Very straightforward questions basically from these things. Clear? Basically from these topics they will ask very straightforward question. Clear? So DRT basically stands for the Debt Recovery Tribunal. So basically up to how basically amount for filing the case in the DRT tribunal. So basically for case filing under the DRT, basically the amount, minimum amount here is to basically above 20 lakh. Clear? The minimum amount here is to basically above 20 lakh. Clear? The minimum amount here is to basically above 20 lakh basically for filing the case basically under the DRT. Okay. And further, basically DRT is to be quasi-judicial. Clear? DRT is to be quasi-judicial. I think all of you are able to remember all these points basically because you have discussed or go through all these points in the JIB legal. Okay, next one basically. Yes, this is the amount. If any account basically becomes NPA and its amount is basically 21 lakh, 22 lakh, clear. So they have to case file under the DRT, clear. The case will not go to the LOK ADALAT, clear. In that case, basically we will refer the case to the LOK ADALAT, clear. If the amount is less than that, clear, we can say that settlement. Okay, so please remember that thing, clear. So please remember that thing. That is DRT basically quasi judicial. Here is to be LOK ADALAT. And further one thing basically regarding the DRT here. So basically it is established under which act? Clear. Basically DRT is basically established under which act? Basically it is RDB Act. Clear. RDB Act. RDB basically stands for the recovery of debt. RDB basically stands for the recovery of debt due to banks and financial institutions. Clear. And financial, FINANCIAL, financial institutions. RDDB Act, recovery of debt due to banks and financial institutions. This act was formed in the year 1993. Clear. Basically, this act was formed in the year 1993. Okay. So please remember these points. Clear. Further, basically, this is important. Clear. Basically, this type of question they have already asked. Clear. Basically, DRT. Who is the head of the DRT? Clear. Basically, who is the head of the DRT? That is presiding officer. Clear. Who is the head of the DRT? That is basically presiding officer. Who is the head of the DRT? Basically, that is presiding officer. Head of DRT, I will write here. So what is the tenure of the head of the DRT? That is presiding officer. Clear. What is the tenure basically? Four years or 65 years of age. Clear. 4 years or 65 years of. And further, basically, what is the next higher authority? Clear. What is the next higher authority basically of the DRT? That is DRAT. Clear. That is DRAT. DRAT basically stands for the Debt Recovery Appellate Tribunal. Debt Recovery Appellate Tribunal. Clear. DRAT basically stands for the Debt Recovery Appellate Tribunal. Clear. And the designation basically in this person. The designation basically at this post is to be chairperson. Clear. That is to be chairperson. And their tenure is also, that is a retirement basically up to the age of 70 years. Clear. Basically up to the age of 70 years. And further one more point basically under that. So if any case basically in the DRT, so basically within how many days the case will refer to the DRT? Clear. Basically period for appeal, basically 30 days. Clear. Basically after 30 days, clear, the case will be goes to the DRAT. Clear. If the person wants. Clear. Basically person can appeal. Okay. And they have to deposit some amount also. Clear. Basically they have to deposit some amount also. Earlier the amount basically we have to deposit at least 50%. Clear. Basically 50% basically of the judgment amount. Clear. Basically on which the case is to be going. And now that amount is going to be reduced to 25%. Clear. And now basically that amount is going to be reduced to 25%. Clear. And now basically that amount is basically going to be reduced to 25%. Okay. So these are some of the important points regarding the DRAT. Clear. Regarding the DRAT. Okay. Now next one here, which we have to discuss some other important points. Next one here is to be like the LOK ADALAT. LOK ADALAT. Clear? So very important question regarding the LOK ADALAT. That is basically under which act? Clear? Basically under which act basically LOK ADALAT is to be established. Clear? LOK ADALAT basically is to be established under the Legal Services Authorities Act. Clear? Basically LSA Act. Legal Services Authorities Act. Clear? LOK ADALAT was established basically under the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. Clear? Basically under the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. Clear? So what is the maximum amount? Clear? Or basically 1997 or 1987? So what is the maximum amount under the LOK ADALAT? Clear? So what is the maximum amount basically under the LOK ADALAT? That is up to 20 lakhs. Clear? Basically up to 20 lakhs. Clear? So basically as we have to go to the court, clear? Basically for the DRT, basically we have to pay some fees. Clear? Basically for the DRT, we have to pay some fees. Clear? But in the case of the LOK ADALAT, clear? Basically there is no fees. Clear? But in the case of LOK ADALAT, there is no fees. Okay. And amount we have already discussed, that is maximum. And under the LOK ADALAT, clear? Basically what is going on? Basically under the LOK ADALAT, basically most of the time, basically what is going on? That is OTS. Clear? That is one-time settlement. Clear? That is basically one-time settlement. Clear? So basically in this thing, basically there is most of the time, basically what is to be done? That is a one-time settlement. Basically mostly it is to be done in the case of the LOK ADALAT. Clear? So basically these are the some of the important points regarding that. Clear? I think SARFAESI we have already discussed in that also. SARFAESI. So can anyone tell basically what is the full form of the SARFAESI? Please tell fast if anyone remember basically what is the full form of the SARFAESI. SARFAESI basically stands for the securitization. Hope it is clear to all of you what is the full form of SARFAESI. Basically under that, basically we are issuing two notices. Clear? So first one is section 13(2). Under section 32, basically which notice we have to issue? Clear? Under section 32, basically which notice we have to issue? That is demand notice. Clear? Please remember this is the last time question also. Clear? Section 32 basically demand notice. Basically demand notice to whom? Basically to the defaulting borrower. Clear? Basically we have to issue demand notice basically to the defaulting borrower. Basically and within that, basically we are saying that basically you have to discharge their dues. Clear? Basically you have to discharge your dues basically within how many days? Basically within 60 days. Clear? That is within 60 days. Definitely you will get question basically from these points in the examination. Clear? Basically within 60 days from the date of the receipt of the notice. Clear? That is basically within 60 days basically from the date of the receipt of the notice. Clear? Now next one thing. After that, basically there is one more notice is to be sent. Clear? And this point they have also asked in examination. Basically 13(2) notice. Basically we have to send. Clear? Basically we have to send basically which of the following modes? Clear? First one by the registered post. By the registered post. In the examination they have just written registered post. Second one, that is a registered post basically with acknowledgement due. Clear? On the back side of the post, basically we will paste some one acknowledgement letter. Clear? Or acknowledgement, we can say that slip. On that, basically if the customer is basically taking that letter, so they have signed it. Clear? And in the bank, basically we have to file in our, basically we can say that paper that basically this notice we have sent on that day and the customer has also received that. Clear? Now next one, that is by speed post. Third one basically by the courier or fax message. Okay, so these are some of the, or by email. Clear? All are to be included under that. Clear? Basically all are to be included under that. So please remember all these things. Clear? So please remember all these things regarding that. Clear? Now next notice, that is 13(2). We have already discussed section, sorry, under 13(4). Clear? Under section 13(4), which notice basically we have to issue, clear, under section 13(4), basically which notice basically we have to issue, that is symbolic possession. Symbolic possession notice is to be given. Clear, symbolic possession notice is to be given. Okay, so please remember all these things regarding the SARFAESI. Clear, please remember all these things basically regarding the SARFAESI. Clear. And one more thing, basically this question we have basically within how many days, clear, basically within how many days of taking possession, clear, basically within how many days basically of taking possession, the possession notice basically should be published in 2 leading newspapers. Clear, within how many days basically of taking possession, clear, basically within how many days basically of taking possession, the published notice, clear, should be the possession notice basically should be published in 2 leading newspapers. Clear, basically within 7 days. Clear, basically within 7 days. Okay, now next one, what is the amount under that? Clear, what is the amount under SARFAESI? Clear, basically what is the amount under SARFAESI? Clear, now next question 8, basically 1 or 2 question more basically. First one is the basically amount under SARFAESI, and second one here basically what is section 1313. So the amount under SARFAESI basically it is to be above 1 lakh. Clear, it is to basically above 1 lakh basically the amount under to be SARFAESI. Clear, the amount under to be SARFAESI. Clear. And what is section 1313? Clear, and basically what is section 1313? Clear, what is section 1313? Clear, under that section 1313, very very important. Clear, section basically it provides that what section 1313 provides, basically it provides that after receipt of, clear, basically after receipt of demand notice, clear, basically after receipt of demand notice, the borrower or the guarantor or the mortgager, clear, the borrower, guarantor or the mortgager shall not transfer any of the secured assets, clear, basically shall not transfer any of the secured assets by way of lease or sale, clear, by way of lease or sale without the prior consent of the bank. Clear, basically one shall not transfer any of the basically we can say that secured asset basically by the way of by the way of lease, or we can say that by the way of sale. Clear, without the prior consent of the bank. Clear, basically without the prior consent of the bank. Clear. So we have discussed in this session basically some of the important points regarding the DRT, SARFAESI, LOK ADALAT. Clear, and initially basically in the NPA. Clear, and definitely basically you will get 4 to 5 questions basically from these points in the examination. Clear, 4 to 5 questions basically from these points in the examination. Clear, and in the next basically session we have to discuss 4 to 5 numericals. Clear, basically we have to discuss 4 to 5 numericals. Okay, so thanks to all of you for joining this session.